Hello, everybody, and hello, Nate.
Hello, Greg. Hello, all the folks out on the internet. Welcome back to another webisode of What's This Bird Live from the American Birding Association. We're excited to talk to you about birds, birding, and bird identification. It's for those who may or may not be familiar with what we do here. The
Oh,
ABA
they're
hosts a number
familiar.
of yeah, they should be, but I still got to do my due diligence here. The ABA is familiar with the ABA hosts a lot of the groups on Facebook, one of which is called "What's This Bird Live." It's a friendly community of like-minded birding enthusiasts who are there to help you identify your birds, from photos, from videos, from sound recordings, sometimes from illustrations, and we're happy to do so. Every once in a while, we get a few birds that we want to talk about a little more in depth, be they birds that we see a lot of because of the seasons, be they birds that are particularly interesting to us, and
Or like
make for
today,
good
there's no
content.
rhyme or reason at all.
No rhyme or reason. Well, it's
Nothing.
mid-January, so it would be all goals and ducks. So I appreciate you expanding the field a little bit. We're going to pull them up. We're going to talk a little bit about them with you here online. Of course, this is live. If you have any
It
comments,
is.
questions, stories, whatever, please throw them in the comments. We're happy to say hello to
Yep,
all the
we are
folks who are
watching the
joining us.
chats.
We're
I'm
watching
watching
the
Facebook,
chats.
and Nate is watching YouTube. So, yeah, if you've
You
got something to say, let it fly. Len Kopka says hello.
And we got some hellos from Buddy from Beaufort, South Carolina, Dennis Parslow, Western Cuyahoga Audubon Society from Cleveland, Ohio, Bill Kareem from Northern New Jersey, Julie Wells from Arizona, Scott Hickman from the UP, R.I. Davio from New York City, Rebecca from Edmonton, Alberta, Neely Folk from Western Mass. Hey, folks. Hey, everybody. Good to see you here.
Yeah, so are you ready for the for Winter Storm Fern? I guess that's what they've
Fern, is
named
that what we're
it.
calling it?
Fern? I don't know. It's like,
We're going to get some of it down here where I live in the southeast. Everyone is
yeah.
bundling up and preparing for the apocalypse. Looks like I'm going to miss perhaps the worst of it where I am, though it's hard to tell at this point. Won't know till Saturday evening how things are really going. I haven't noticed anything from the birds. I've had a bunch of juncos kind of moving through my yard the
Yeah.
last few days. They look like they're grouping up a little bit more. That might be in relation to upcoming weather. They probably know more than we do about the I don't, the size of the storm. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the
It's
only
warm.
thing
It's
I
beautiful here. It's in
noticed.
the 50s.
It is not. It is not here. The temperature here this morning was minus 13, with negative 35 wind chills, and the only thing I noticed bird wise this morning is that I was in our back porch area, which is heated, and
Hmm.
when it's super cold, I've noticed that birds will sit on the windowsill and huddle up against the window because there's a little bit of
A little bit
radiant
of heat. Yeah.
heat coming through the double pane windows. And so yeah, there were house sparrows and a couple of juncos sitting on the windowsill. Michael Sanders on Facebook says, "Hey guys, Greg, you should totally do an all gull episode. I think that's
He'll have to do it with
probably."
someone else.
I was gonna say that's probably gonna be one of the times that Nate is unavailable, and
We'll get Ted. We'll
I'll
get
rope
Ted.
Amar in here to do it. Um, and Len says that South Carolina is about to get a massive ice storm. I think probably a good third of the U.S. population is about to get a massive ice storm.
Yeah. When I was looking at the bands the other day, it looked like where I live is going to be slightly less affected than the people in Charlotte and Raleigh and on down.
Yeah.
It's sort of on the north side of the band where it's going to be perhaps more snow than ice, or at least not as much ice. But I don't know. Time will tell. I guess we'll all find out together, won't we?
Yeah.
Look,
I mean,
we'll have
birders.
power back by the time we have to do another one of these. Don't worry.
Yeah, but I think birders more than maybe the only people profession that follows the weather more than meteorologists
Probably murders.
are birders and,
Yeah.
and pilots, airline
Yeah.
pilots. Um, and yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen a storm? Like, okay, this thing's gonna hit us right on the nose, and then it just kind of fizzles out.
It happens all the time
And
down here.
and the opposite, and the
Yeah.
opposite.
It's true.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I was
weather,
running
weather
errands the other
predicting is
day.
hard.
I was running errands the other day, yesterday, and there were salt trucks out there, spreading
Yeah.
spreading the brine on the roads. So, they're doing all they can down here, such that there's anything they can do. We're always unprepared, but
And Len
this is
says,
like
and
once every 10
golfers.
years. Yeah, golfers, right? Yeah. And
Um,
man, what if there's like a meteorologist pilot golfer birder? Would they be like
oh,
the most obsessed with the weather person?
I'll bet you that might exist.
No,
I did see that.
meteorologist golfer birder. I'd be at pilot golfer birder. Meteorologist pilot is going to be.
I knew a pilot birder.
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
see,
but
just
not a
speaking
pilot
of
golfer, pilot meteorologist.
people into birding. I saw a birding podcast in the UK featuring Sean Bean. I didn't know that Sean Bean was a birder.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he's part of the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds Big Feeder
Yeah.
Watch push. It popped up when I was getting ready on YouTube here, getting ready to stream. It posted as one of our thing you might be interested in. I was gonna watch it,
Yeah.
but I didn't have time before we got going here.
Yeah, well, speaking of get going here, how about if we dig into some stuff and look at some birds?
We got a few questions on YouTube.
well,
Okay, do what you're
no,
gonna do, Greg, and I can salt them
take,
in.
Let's take the question.
Yeah. As you know, this is all live. So if you want to
Yeah.
get us off track here, we're happy to abide. Ellen Seedman, 9836, asks a question about drought causing a decrease in insects and less warblers. Is that possible? I suppose that's possible. A lot of insects go into dormancy whenever you get less rain in a drought conditions. Whether or not that means fewer warblers, I'm not sure. A lot of warbler numbers are determined by what's going on the breeding territories way up north,
And wintering territories way down south.
Yeah, so we in the migratory brutes of as are most of the people in North America. Anyway, I'm not sure. I would think
Yeah.
so, but I don't know if a drought where we live would necessarily affect warbler numbers
Yeah,
as much
and
as it could
I
in
think
other
that
places.
I think that,
We have
that
go ahead.
I think that well, not I think I know that if drought is localized,
Mm-hmm.
so we get a drought in northern Illinois, say southern Wisconsin, the birds will just fly right over. If they land, if they come in,
That's
if the
a good
warblers come in and there's no flowering trees, they just
leave.
keep moving until they find
Yeah.
flowering trees.
Yeah.
And an extra
That's a good point.
400 miles for them is no big deal.
Yeah, I think drought is a very localized condition in a lot of cases. Sometimes in the West you get those large droughts, but even within those large areas of drought, but even within those, there are areas where there's more rain than others, where the drought would not be as impactful. We do have a Savard Me 2008 says he's a pilot golfer birder. So
All right,
there is
there we go.
3 out of 4. 3 out of 4.
Close to the unicorn.
Yeah, almost. Need to get your meteorology degree. Get on TV talking about the weather.
There we go. Well, as always, we have a little bit of business. First thing is we got merch, and there it is.
Got my shirt. Thank you, David,
Um,
for sending me one. Also, I got one of these.
Oh, good. You moved away from your mic. I thought my earbud just
No, I
died,
got it.
and-
I don't wear my
Okay.
hat usually inside
There, you got
my
your
house,
hat.
but
Yes,
not a
we
Neanderthal, but-
have Bird of the Year Horned Lark T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs,
ABA logo wear.
and then all kinds of ABA logo wear, hot off the press stuff.
Hot
so,
off the presses.
Yeah, and I really like the Hola. Actually, well, we can say it properly. Hola.
Hola, hola.
Hola. Borb shirt. It's a really cool design. And
IO Grind, big fan of it in the YouTube comments. Thank you for that.
so you've got Alex Lamoureux and Tim Healy, I think, talking about vagrants and rarities of last year.
We have a request for What's This Bird Live specific merch.
Oh, well,
Well, we'll talk to David about that.
yeah.
Anyway, Alex Lamoureux, Tim Healy, two guys who know their way around a rare bird, join me for the annual Wildest Vagrants of 2025 episode, where we look back and we talk about some of the most impressive vagrants phenomenon, first state, provincial, territorial rarities, things of that nature that happened in the ABA over the last year. It's a fun conversation. We are extremely thorough, so just know that going in. It might be the longest episode we've ever done. But we talk a lot of really cool birds, and Alex and Tim are very thoughtful, very insightful, very birdie guests, and it's great conversation, a lot of fun. Check it out.
So
Wherever you find podcasts.
did you arrive at a most outrageous vagrant?
We did. We had a few options. I'll ask you what yours is, Greg. But both Alex and Tim chose the waved albatross that turned up in California this past fall. Excellent, long overdue ABA first. In part because of the absolutely unreal photos that were taken of that bird.
Yeah.
During the people on that boat, man, they struck gold on that pelagic
Yeah.
trip. For me, it was the military macaws in Big Bend. State or national park that showed up earlier this spring. Providence issues be damned. I think they're legit, and I think a lot of other birders believe they are too. How can you not choose a giant, loud, amazing parrot first macaw on the ABA checklist? That was my justification. But there's a lot of really cool stuff out there this year that we talked about.
Cool. All right.
What was yours? What was your favorite vagrant from this last year?
Now I can't remember if it was this last year or the year before because it's kind of all a blur.
It does get that way.
But I think the two you just mentioned, the macaws and the albatross, are way up there. But I think it was 2024, but regardless, the short-tailed shearwaters that showed up.
Oh yeah,
in the Great Lakes, that was just nuts.
That was 24. And that was you're
fall
right.
of 24.
That was a really cool phenomenon. And a little surprised we hadn't seen more of those this year, but I think the way things are going, we'll probably see some more of that kind of stuff. We did talk a little bit about the possibility of like a short-tailed albatross or something doing the same thing and passing over the Northwest Passage and turning up in the Atlantic Basin, just because we've seen so many weird seabirds turn up in the wrong ocean, as it were, over the last couple years, including 2 last year.
25 years ago, we were talking about that, like what would happen when the Northwest Passage actually opened up and became ice-free in the summer, the shoreline, and birds followed it, and we have gannets going back and forth. We have great blackback gulls going to Alaska. We have tufted puffins going to Maine, and it's a real thing.
It's happening. They had, I think they had gray whales in the North Atlantic in the last couple of years, which is another species that could possibly. And what would happen if we start seeing gray whales in the Atlantic again? Haven't had those in several hundred years.
All right.
Anyway, let's talk weird birds.
Yeah, our first bird comes from New Jersey.
Greg, when you pulled this up, I had to stare at it for at least 20 seconds trying to get my mind around exactly what I was seeing here before I could come to some sort of guess, because this is one of those, I don't know, it ticks a lot of boxes. There's some things that stand out to me. It's got wing bars. That's got to be.
Yep, we can see a wing bar.
That's got to be
there.
useful. It's really green. Hard to get a sense of the shape on this bird. It's clearly matted from rain or oiled or something along those lines. The bill is pretty. It's kind of long and thin.
Kind of general utility.
Yeah, I mean, it almost gives an impression of a flycatcher bill, but flycatchers have that very kind of wide bill. It looks very thin from the side, but from underneath, it's rather wide, especially at the base. And I don't see that. I think I would see that on this bird if it were a flycatcher.
I see two things that steer me in a very definite direction. And on the far left image and the far right image, we can make out yellow in the face.
You can.
And possibly yellow in the throat, because you can see it right on the far left image.
Mealy Kilo says in YouTube, is there some yellow?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't notice that at first, but yes, I see it now.
And then the other thing in the far right image and a little bit in the far left image, you can see white in the tail. And
on the outside of it. Yeah.
So you've got green, yellow, and white in the tail. That's a warbler.
That's a warbler. Yeah, it's warbler is definitely the conclusion you come to eventually. When I first popped this photo up, before I saw those things, I would like my brain was like flipping through the index cards of like flycatcher, oriole, warbler,
Yeah.
vireo, like all the things that it could possibly be. And they're not. Some of those are not necessarily birds that you would throw together as confusion species. But
Well,
as yet, when
and
you've got a bird with the feathers are so messed up, that's kind of where you have to be.
exactly. In wintertime in New Jersey, the number of possibilities drops, a lot.
Yeah, for
So
warblers
let's
especially,
yeah,
only a couple
that's
options.
yeah. So let's take a look and see what this might be. I think we got four options.
Yeah,
Uh,
you didn't put yellow rumped up there. I think that's right. You would see a yellow rump if there was a
Yellow
yellow
rump has
rump
a
warbler
gray
here.
streaky back.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
It doesn't have just a plain green back like that.
Hmm.
Um, for a couple of reasons, we can rule out yellow-throated vireo. One, um, that would be a really amazing record because
Yeah,
they don't
they're
stick
not really here in
around.
the winter. Yeah.
But anything is possible, and certainly there are a very, very few winter records. But two, the white in the tail rules out any vireo.
Hmm.
Uh, and the white in the tail also rules out orange-crowned warbler. Um, so we're left with pine and Cape
Wing
May.
bar too. Yeah,
Yeah,
no wing bars
and
and
wing
orange
bar
crowned
and
warbler
wing
too.
bar exactly.
And orange crowned warbler just has a very very thin bill as well.
It does.
It's awfully skinny. It's
And this
not in the
bird
same
has a
genus
lot of
as pine warbler, so
this bird has a lot of
it's
yellow around the eye.
It
Um,
does, and that's the weirdest thing about it. If it were an orange crowned warbler, rather, you wouldn't expect to see that. Yeah, I mean, I originally came to the conclusion that it was a pine warbler
yep,
because of the bill was kind of utilitarian, as we said, kind of
yep,
general all-purpose songbird bill,
yep,
and it does have what appears to be a pretty significant eye ring,
yep.
and pine warbler does have a pretty full eye ring in a lot of plumages. Um, and plain gray wing bar, kind of dark flight feathers, all that kind of checks out as well.
Bingo.
Cape May warbler, I'd expect also to have a much smaller bill. It'd have more yellow in the face than what we see. It wouldn't have so much of an eye ring. And likelihood is always good. Pine warbler, one of the maybe two or three likely species of winter warblers in New Jersey. Even though it doesn't necessarily look like a pine warbler all that much in its ratty state. That's was the conclusion I eventually came to. I was happy to see that was the one that everyone else came to as well.
I would agree. I think that one of the things you pointed out, the dark wing panel,
Hmm.
is kind of key there. Cape May has light edgings on
Yeah,
pretty much all of the
almost like a
flight
kinglet.
feathers.
Yeah.
And pine warbler usually does not. I imagine when it's super, super fresh, it might
Hmm.
for a little while. Um, but what you're saying, it doesn't look like a pine warbler. Well, that means it definitely is a pine warbler because
Yeah,
in
that's
most
true.
plumages, pine warblers don't look like anything.
Well, yeah, it's like if you can't put it to anything else, pine warbler is always a good guess, especially if it's like a ratty pine warbler or a pale pine warbler or I don't know. They can give you so many different looks and they can be so confusing a lot of times and throw water on it, it's going to be even more so. But pine warbler is always a good guess if you don't know where else to go on kind of an all-purpose songbird like this.
So
Joshua Sims in the comments, messy pine warbler does it again
yep, they do. Um,
every time.
in the chat on Facebook, we got Mia saying hi Mia, and my pal Steve Huggins, who agrees about the macaws. Um,
Yes, sir.
and
Good man. Man of taste.
well, Len Kopka says this is pine only by default. You got to admit, there's nothing here that screams pine warbler.
I wouldn't say
Well,
I'd say that there's nothing here that screams pine warbler. I would agree with that, but there are some things here that gently nudge pine warbler. And if you pay enough attention to it, to the
yeah.
psst, hey, check this out, then I think you can get there. But yeah, I hate identifying birds by negative field marks. I prefer to go by what is there. Because I think we've all been fooled by birds with negative field
Sure.
marks before, and perhaps there's a bird later in this sequence that might
Oh,
lead us
perhaps there
in some
is.
interesting directions. Little teaser, little trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, wing bars eye ring mostly green. It's sitting in a It's sitting in a conifer. I
Yep.
mean,
The
it's
cedar.
what
Yep. But
else?
yeah,
What else
mostly
does it need to tell
green
you?
with yellow wing bars and white in the
Yeah.
tail. And yeah, that narrows you down really fast. Um, Quincy from Florida is popping in to say hi.
Hello,
Got
hello.
a nice little crew going on Facebook.
Yeah,
Uh,
better than we've had in a while.
okay, so this one, let's wait for it.
I think it's blown out, Greg.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Does this have sound?
No.
Phoenix, Arizona. It's one
Yep.
of those birdie cams. I like it. I like a video.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We got a kind of a dingy, dusty brown songbird.
Yep. Yep.
It's got a really pale bill.
Yep.
It's got a black mask, pale legs, longish tail, kind of streamlined appearance. It's got a sparrow bill for sure.
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's the
pink
place to
legs.
start here. Yeah, I think it's those big kind of long-tailed sparrows that we call towhees.
Yeah.
The
Or
Piplio
so
genus of sparrows.
let's take a look there.
Actually, they
So
might not be Piplio.
of the birds that are that basic color, we can rule out curve-billed thrasher just because we get a good look at the bill.
Curve-billed thresher generally has a very big, heavy bill and a big pale eye too,
And a big,
like a big
staring pale eye.
Yeah.
I don't remember if northern cardinal was discussed in the chat about this
Melzoni.
bird,
Not Piplio.
but the dark face certainly does might make you think northern cardinal, but northern cardinal, when they are that greenish color, they have a black bill. And then as they get more red, or as the females get more red on them, the bill turns red pretty quickly. But they always have some kind of a dusty, dark, reddish brick on them somewhere. And as this bird turns around, we can see the tail, the wings, the back, everything pretty well, and there's no hint of that. So we're left with the two towhees that you mentioned.
Yeah,
A third would be California towhee, but they're not found in Arizona.
not in Arizona. In fact, it used to be the considered conspecific with canyon towhee. If you're old enough to remember,
Yeah.
brown was a brown towhee in your
Yeah.
field guide.
Yep.
I remember those. They split it. It's been some time since they split into California towhee and along the coast, and canyon towhee in the interior southwest. Canyon towhee, pretty plain bird. Peak bill, check. Long tail, check. No mask though. It's
Right.
that mask that is
That dark mask and the eye ring on canyon towhee, it gives those two birds a very different look of the face. So yeah, I think we can safely call this an Abert's towhee,
Aberts.
which is speaking of
Is it
vagrants-
Aberts or Abears? I'm not sure. I think it's Aberts, right?
Oh, in Arizona it's Abert's.
Aberts. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Vox's Vos Swift thing.
Yeah. But Abert's towhee, speaking of vagrants earlier, is another one of those birds that there was not
Yeah.
one, but two. So
Two.
Abert's towhee, for those of you who don't know, is limited in range in the ABA area to Arizona, southern Arizona at that. It is a desert bird. But somehow a pair showed up in Minnesota, and apparently we're trying to breed, which is very strange.
Yeah, for sure. Abert's towhee is one of those southwestern species that will vagrate from time to time, and a lot of
Yeah.
those birds are very dependent on water conditions. But so in drought, we've already talked a little bit about drought. A lot of those southwestern kind of desert species are inclined to wander pretty far afield in response to lack of water. We've had vagrant records of, well, you name it, like Perloxia this year, which is not one you think of all that much. A lot of the little flycatchers. Many of
the eastern states have records of painted redstart.
Painted redstart, that's another good one.
And there's several records of things like Grace's warbler in the east. On Facebook,
Virginia's
we got
warbler.
Victoria saying hi from Iowa. We got Mary from Chicago. Hi, Mary. Laura from Michigan. And Jim pops in to say, yes, it's an Abert's towhee. Yep, you are
Abert.
right, Jim.
Abert. What? All
Yep.
right, Devio says, what would Abert's name be changed to? I'm not sure. Like if they ever got rid of the honorifics, I suppose.
Oh,
Its scientific name is Melzoni abert. I don't know. We talked about that a little bit. It's a very range restricted bird. It's kind of interesting. They like this kind of
I don't know. Blackface
Sonoran
towhee.
desert, blackface towhee, yeah, Sonoran
Yeah.
towhee. I don't
Blackface
know.
brushfinch. Wait, there's already one of those, I think.
They are breastfinchy, for
Yeah,
sure.
they are
Yeah,
brushfinchy.
Abert's towhee. Yeah, one of those good kind of local birds of the Southwest. Yeah, Arizona, Nevada, Southern California, things of that nature. Places like that.
Okay, we're
Ebert.
gonna we got Steve from Pennsylvania checking in,
Hello, hello.
and now we're gonna go to Florida.
Florida. Yeah, looks like we've got a shorebird sitting on a dune. I don't know the name of that plant. I'm sure someone in there knows it, but I know that it is frequently found kind of against the on the far on the backside of a beach. Um, it's got a relatively small, thickish bill. It's got long legs. It's gray on the back and white on the belly. I think we can safely put this as one of our ringed plovers. I know that the genus has changed a little bit on those. I can't remember
Mia
what it's
pops
been
in to
anymore.
identify the plant that it's standing among.
Oh yeah, I knew
Standing
someone
in a
would.
purslane.
Purslane, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
I knew someone has told me that before. That rings a bell. I can never keep plant names in my head for very long. It's because I'm a
And
birder.
while we're looking here at the chat, we got Steve checking in from Pennsylvania, Pablo from Ecuador, John Cargiz suggests mask towhee for Aberts, and
Oh, that's
yeah,
not bad.
Mia popping in.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like
mask
that.
towhee, that works.
I like that.
So yeah, this is one of the small plovers, and I think right off the bat,
Charadrius used to be the genus, but I think they've
yeah,
changed it recently.
I think right off the bat we can rule out. Well, we can rule out things like killdeer, because for a lot of reasons, it's not a killdeer.
These might still be Charadrius.
But Wilson's plover, the bill just is not big enough
Yeah,
for a
Wilson's
Wilson's
plover
plover.
is a chonky bird, and especially on that bill, it's got a big old fiddler crab crushing bill. That is, it's a bird you got to look out for in Florida. It's reasonably common in a lot of these places. A lot of these places, you get a lot of these birds all kind of
All
together. I
together.
remember when we did the ABA community weekend down in Fort Myers in last fall of last year. We went to Bunch Beach and we had like 5 or 6 species of plover all in one place, which was awesome, including this one. And yeah, we had Wilsons there too, but
Yeah,
they're
so they
big, they're chunky, and they have a massive bill.
so the discussion on this bird went to the three smallest, which are semi-palmated, piping, and snowy, which are all possible in Florida.
We have a suggestion for
Quick,
common ringed, but that's probably more than we want to get into
so
today.
quickly though, before we move on this one a little bit, Huth Avian Services asks says they're in Minnesota now. Where are the Aberts towhees? Well, I think they're probably dead.
It was like 2 or 3 years
I
ago.
don't.
Yeah.
They were there 2 years ago, and I doubt they survived the winter. But they have not been seen in a couple of years. And it was just one pair. Alan is checking in from Guyana. So we got people from all over the place today. That's awesome. So yes, the three small plovers, and let's take a look at those three, and yeah, and spend some time with them.
Yeah, snowy and piping are going to be down there, and this time of year, it's a
You
little
get
bit easier for these
semi-palmated.
birds and semi-palmated. Well, I'm going to talk about snowy and piping together because they're extremely pale. I mean, snowy is almost ghostly white.
Yes.
Piping is really pale this time of year. So I think we can probably rule those out pretty easily just based on the mantle color of this bird, which is kind of a dark, I don't know, slatey gray color. Also, piping in particular has these like bright orange legs that you can see from
Mm-hmm.
a pretty long distance away. That makes them very distinctive. So that's another reason to rule out those birds. But they are all kind of down there. Um, in Florida. Did I go too far, too fast on that one?
That's okay.
Semi-palmated plover definitely seems like the good bet for this one,
We
though.
we have a half
I
an
don't
hour to
know if you
kill.
can
We have a half an
entirely
hour to
rule
kill
out.
with one bird left. So yeah, start milking it, Nate.
Yeah, I don't know if well, you want to talk common ring plover because that's a like a rare vagrant to the East Coast and certainly rare
Well, you know
to
what?
Florida.
If we
Though it
if we
does
go
breed in North
back,
America,
but
interestingly
if we
enough,
go
up in
back,
Nunavut.
if we go back and look at the picture, we can. This is a really good picture, and we can see that
You can
yellow
see
eye
the
ring.
bill. Yeah.
And well, no, the yellow eye ring. That's all you need to see.
Oh, okay.
Common ring plover
Yeah.
has a black eye ring, so yeah,
Yes,
we don't.
I'm
We know
pulling
that's
this
not a
out.
common ring plover.
There you go.
But semi-palmated and piping can be tough in winter plumage, or subadult plumage, especially when semi-palmated uh, is like this time of year, they can get pretty bleached.
Yeah, yeah, you can see that definitely on the wings on this bird, whereas the wings and
Mhm.
the mantle are a little bit different color, and that makes sense because the wings, the flight feathers tend to wear faster than the feathers on the body because they're used so much more. Um, yeah, I mean, this is a bird that's towards the end of its non-breeding plumage, it's going to start molt. Uh, it not too much longer, maybe another month or so. So they may even bleach even more in the next few weeks
Yeah,
as they kind of those feathers hang on until they're replaced.
but I think you are correct, in that the piping plover generally has brighter
Generally,
orangey yellow legs. It typically has, when it has color at the base of the bill, it typically shows more color at the base of the bill. Um, the overall mantle color, and especially the face, the one real giveaway here on this bird is the cheek under the eye.
mm-hmm.
Going into the auricular is darker than the rest of the face, and that's a giveaway for semi-palmated plover. Uh, and it was pointed out in the Mia pointed out that Snowy has gray, blackish legs.
Mm.
It also has a very thin bill,
Mm.
and like you said, they're ghostly white.
Yeah,
Sometimes when they're running around in the sand, all you see are the little black marks on the face and the bill, because they
yeah,
just
they
blend
can
right in.
actually stand out if they're on a like a wet mud flat, like one where the
Yes.
tide is receding pretty quickly. The sand can be very dark, like a very dark gray, almost the color of the semi-palmated plover's back. And in that situation, birds like piping plovers just kind of stand out like a sore thumb a
Well,
lot of
that's
times, and snowy plovers even more so.
the one snowy plover I've seen in Illinois was on a flooded farm field in the mud, and yeah, it did. You could scope
You can
that
see
thing
it from
from
a
a
long way away.
long
Yeah,
way away.
yeah, yeah. Here on the Atlantic coast in North Carolina, we have paler beaches a lot of times, and they will be on like the really really kind of light colored beach, and they can disappear on that no problem. But on these kind of dark beaches, they're they're out there. You can find them pretty easily.
And we got Christy popping in from Tennessee to say hello. Get your supplies and buckle up. I think Tennessee is going to get hit with this storm as hard as anybody,
Yeah.
coming up. But yeah, so do we have anything else to say about plovers, Nate?
Nothing, not too much. They do tend to hang out together a lot of times. I frequently see semi-palm and especially piping plovers in a lot of the same places, and so you do get opportunities to compare and contrast a lot of times. So it's always nice to take those opportunities when they give them to you,
Yeah. So,
especially in the
as
winter.
yeah, as Nate alluded to at the beginning, this next bird. Oh wait, actually, I take that back. We
We
have
got
two
one more
more.
before then.
We
Yeah,
got one more before that one. That's right. So let's go on to that one. This one is also from Florida, uh,
this is a good one.
and
You got some good ones this week, Greg.
yeah, this is a good one. This is it's kind of in that same pine warblery,
Yeah.
like, okay, this is just a bird.
Yeah, all of
It's
these birds sort of made me, listen to my gut reaction and kind of second guess myself a little bit, which is always nice when you
yeah.
get some of this stuff. What are we looking at here? We're looking
So
at a
we're
big,
looking we're,
big
we're
gray
looking at
bird.
a yeah, kind of a
Big-ish gray bird, I suppose.
brownish slaty
Mm-hmm.
general shape bird. Tail's not too long, wings aren't too long. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that really stands out is that it's got some paler markings on the face that look kind of buffy. Um,
Yeah.
the bill is pretty utilitarian.
Mm-hmm.
On the picture
Nothing
on the
super
right,
stands
we
out on
can
that.
see that the color in the face is pretty. There's a bit of it there, and the bill is pretty sharp. Uh, I think all of that kind of gets us to blackbirds, cowbirds.
Blackbirds, cowbirds, icterids, grackles, that kind of
Yeah,
group of birds. Florida has a lot of them
they
from
do.
all over, especially in the winter. So it's a good option to think about. What do you want to rule out first, Greg? I think red-winged blackbird is probably the one that is most common across the entirety of the continent. Female red-winged blackbird, even a young male red-winged blackbird, is going to be a little bit more
Well,
slender. It's probably
I
not
mean,
going to
if you
have
want
as
to,
much yellow in it.
yeah, and if you want to, like, we can rule out the grackles. The
Yeah,
bill
the
is
tail's
just
not
too
wrong. The
short.
tail's
The
the tail's
body
wrong.
structure and everything. Grackles are kind
Yeah.
of long and slim. Even a common grackle, which
Hmm.
really doesn't show color in the face. You know, in Florida it would
Yeah.
be boat-tailed, and they definitely can show color in the face like that.
The females,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
the females, and they kind of the same color as this bird. You know, that
Hmm.
kind of mud brown with a little bit of slaty thrown in there. Um, there's one
The
clue, and
eye is wrong there too.
there's
The
one clue and
grackles all
one
pale eyes.
slam dunk mark on these in these photos, and we'll take a look here and
Yeah,
see. Like you said, red-winged blackbird. Whenever it has color
yeah.
in the face, it has a lot of streaking,
Usually pretty
so
streaky.
we
Yep.
can rule that out. Um,
The cowbirds are particularly interesting,
yeah,
especially shiny cowbird. But we can rule out brown-headed pretty quickly. The bill is a bit shorter on
yeah,
brown-headed cowbird. The tail is a bit shorter. It's a bit more pot-bellied. Um, the brown-headed cowbird can show a little bit of pale coloring, white, creamy coloring, kind of on the
yeah,
throat and around the eye. It's never as extensive as in this bird, um, and it's kind of almost too dark. It's almost too
yeah.
chocolate colored, as opposed to brown cowbirds, which are
Yeah,
too
now
really
shiny
paler.
cowbird
Shiny's interesting though.
is interesting because this one in the comp is kind of bleached out, but they tend to
Hmm.
be more brownish. The females and the younger birds, they tend to be more brownish. But this picture was taken. These pictures, back up to them. Um, these pictures were taken at the rice mill just west of Palm Beach, which is the best place in the United States to see shiny cowbird. And
Hmm.
so it's something that people are always looking for at that location. And yeah,
Yeah,
so
the
there's
thing
one
that
there,
really
and
I
there is
think
one
is
there right now. This picture was taken last
I
week, and there is
would
one there
not.
right now.
Yeah, it would not surprise me. Shiny cowbird is one of those birds that's showing up more and more frequently in Florida, and people are having to reckon with that a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um, the pattern in the wing, though, when we've got the bird there with the spread
that's the
wing,
slam
it's
dunk
got the
mark,
the
and that
little bit of white at the base of the primaries and maybe some of the
it's
outer secondaries, but maybe not. But it's got that white patch on there, and my
on the
first
wing
inclination
coverts.
when I
Yeah,
saw this bird was shiny cowbird. But then you see that second bird where the bird is kind of diving down. You see the white pattern, and some part of my brain tickled, and I was like, oh boy, this looks like a yellow-headed blackbird. But are they allowed to be in Florida?
oh yeah,
But like I said before, Florida has this. It's almost like an open air aviary. They've
it
got
is.
so many birds, both exotic introduced species, but also birds that come from the west and overwinter. Tons of flycatchers, tons of blackbirds, and orioles, and all sorts of birds that can be found there. And yeah, lo and behold, the yellow-headed blackbird. There's quite a few of them down there in Florida, and
Yes,
I
and
don't know if that's what a bird is.
that white fringing on the lesser coverts, uh,
Hmm.
that makes it a young male yellow-headed blackbird.
Yeah,
And I'm not
tracks.
sure who in Facebook keeps popping up the angry emoji. I'm guessing it's because they didn't get the bird right. Hope it's not for something we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Marion Finnecane. I never heard of shiny cowbird. So yes, if you have an older field guide, you might not know about shiny cowbird, which is essentially the Caribbean and northern South America, Central
Yep.
American version of our familiar brown-headed cowbird. It's one of those birds that has been showing up in the ABA area, particularly in Florida, for the
Yeah.
last couple decades. So you can find them down there. They're quite common across the Caribbean. You'll run into them all over the place. But reasonably rare in in the ABA area, but there are
In the
places,
ABA
as you can
area,
say,
yeah.
where you can encounter them without too much
Except
trouble.
I
The
think it's the
Miami area and up the
Semchi.
coast.
I think it's the Semchi rice mill. Um,
Yeah, Kevin
except for
Sarsfield
there,
says in the
except for there.
comments, the
What?
rice mill is even better for yellow-headed blackbird than for shiny.
Well, yeah, I would
Probably
imagine
a lot of
so.
blackbirds there, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Um. All right, so that brings
Yeah,
us.
those yellow-headed blackbirds. We're familiar perhaps with the adult male yellow-headed blackbird, which is this massive, kind of flashy-looking bird, all black with a bright yellow head, as you'd expect. But also, when they
Yep.
fly, they have those big white patches at the kind of wrist of the wing. And this bird, being a young male, it's got all the pieces in place, but they aren't quite quite loud enough to be an adult. That'll come as the bird ages. But you've all got a little hints of all those field marks that we expect to see on an adult male yellow-headed blackbird, as is the case with a lot of kind of young male birds. You can see them kind of aging into that plumage that we associate with them.
Yeah, and yellow-headed blackbird is one of those birds that you see. Um, it's a spectacular looking bird, and
Yeah, they're
the
so
the
cool.
the, the icterids in general have fantastic. They make fantastic vocalizations. Even grackles when they're going at it in the spring, they make all kinds of cool noises. And great-tailed grackles are nuts. And then you get into the tropical tropical ones like oropendulas and caciques, and they sound like R2D2.
Static, yeah.
Yellow-headed blackbird, you might think would have this, it's not. It's the sound it makes is like an old rusty gate hinge, and it just kind of
Looks cool though.
and it in that sense it reminds me of cactus wren, which is another bird. You think, oh my
Mm.
gosh, this huge wren, it's going to have this belting song, and it sounds like an old car trying to turn over, like okay, fine.
They don't need it. They've got size. They've got flash. They don't
Quincy
need the
Thayer
voice.
says they love their
Gilding
new
the lily.
ABA Bird of the Year t-shirt. Awesome. Thanks for getting one. And you guys, yep, there it is. Ola Borb. Okay, so here's the one that Nate was alluding to earlier.
I actually don't
And
know what this is because
yeah,
when Greg and I were going over the slideshow before we got started here today, we got to this one, and I said I don't want to know what this. I have some thoughts, but I don't know what it may end up being. But I made him stop because I think it's more
so
fun that way. So
so yeah. Um this is obviously taken in summer in Ohio, and
that doesn't help.
it doesn't help. And when I first saw this bird, I had the same reaction that Nate had, which was,
My gut
"Whoa,
reaction was chachalaka,
yes, yes." Or
but then
some.
Ohio, and then you start looking at the tree around it. It's like it's probably smaller than a chachalaka. That's a
I
pretty
mean, but
big bird.
the bird looks. I mean,
But
it
those
could look like it's kind of pheasant sized, maybe, or not. It's
maybe
hard to
those
say.
feet, those legs and
Those
feet are
long, strong
really
legs and
really
strong
wild.
feet.
Yeah.
Um, now I start thinking, okay, maybe this is some kind of an aviary bird that escaped, or I start thinking to tropical African species, or Southeast Asian or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
because it just doesn't. So one of the reasons that I picked this one is because of the first impression I got, which was totally wrong.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
And yes, and it's one of the pitfalls of being an experienced birder is that you you will often jump to a conclusion, and most of the time your first impression, your gut reaction, serves you well. These are
Hmm.
birds that you've seen a lot of, and you know what they look like. But especially in photographs, and especially photographs like this, it can work against you, um,
Hmm.
as
Because
much as anything.
it's hard to broaden your mind, I guess, to consider everything you need to consider. Because this bird looks like a fowl, like a pheasant. It's got
It
a
does, and
big
but
thick legs. It's got a
when we look at the
long tail.
long,
It's got straggly wings that don't look all that useful.
yep,
Um, yeah, yeah.
and those long strong legs are gray, and in the ABA area, there's not a lot of birds with gray feet. Orioles are one, and vireos are another that we talk about, um, but there aren't too many more, and so yeah, we can't see much on this bird, but
This is
the
why it's
person,
important also to take more than one photo.
exactly, the person was very kind to put in more than one photo, and the second photo, I think most people will get it, and then the third photo, yeah, there's no question what this bird is, and just want to say, Angel, good
I don't
job.
know. I don't know what this bird is. Oh, yeah. All right. I see it now.
Yeah,
This bird is extremely disheveled. It is
extremely
wet.
disheveled.
Did it come out of like a bird bath or something?
I
That's my
probably
question.
did. It
Yeah.
probably did.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there she is. There's
so
Mr.
yeah,
Tufted
there
Titmouse
we
with
have
that
it. Tufted titmouse. Good job, Angel.
conical
On Facebook.
bill, big plain face. It's got a crest. It's gray all over. Um, yeah. Boy, you can't see. Sometimes tufted titmouse have a little bit of like color on the flanks. You can't see any of that.
Yeah,
Can't
and
see any of that.
what's also interesting about tufted
But
titmouse,
they
and
do
it's
have very
something that
big,
I've
strong legs.
it's very strong legs compared to
Yeah.
chickadees. I mean, they're
Yeah.
they're not that much bigger than chickadees, but chickadees have little thin legs compared to a
Hmm.
titmouse.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's our mystery bird. There is a tufted titmouse that you know
Much smaller
I
than you'd think.
much smaller. And I mean, look
Yeah.
at just the way this photo is presented.
Yeah. No, for
It
sure.
it just
Yeah.
doesn't.
Throw that in a mesquite tree, and I'm thinking it's a plain chachalaca. Yeah.
And you can't tell much size from the
Oh yeah, put it in the
leaves or anything
tropics. Yeah.
else. Huh? Yeah.
Put it in the tropics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. Good
So,
one.
um, that's what I like to see: startled faces and heart emojis.
JD's
Um,
he mumbles, Tufted Titmouse does not skip leg day.
no, it definitely does
It
not
does
skip
not.
leg day.
It does not.
All right. Well, we blasted through that with a few minutes left here, and so if you guys got anything that you would like to talk about or a question, Marion, who said they had never heard of shiny cowbird, and you mentioned modern field guides, said.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my field guide was signed by Peterson. So yeah, it's an old one.
Good.
Um,
Was not a bird of the United States at the time when Peterson was birding. It's a relatively recent arrival.
yeah, yeah. So if you guys enjoy this program and everything we do, like the ABA American Birding Podcast, please consider hitting that join button right up there. Go to aba.org/join. You can get our magazines. You can get access to ABA Community, which we've got kind of a cool thing. Yep, there's the latest North America. That's birding.
Yeah, North American Birds is in here too.
Yep. And ABA Community, where I've started putting in a all of the Discord and other chat groups that are around that birders want to find. So if you're an ABA member, you can pop in there. I've got Canada populated, and I'm working on the rest of it. One red pole to rule them all. Um, so yeah, I think we're done a few minutes early here, but I think that's pretty much going to do it for us this time
We have some
around.
questions on YouTube if you want
all
to
right,
kind
sorry.
of just chit chat for a bit.
Sure, let them fly.
Bill Crean, 2130, says, what are the biggest concerns for birds faced with 12 to 18 inches of snow? Food. Finding food.
Food. I think winter events like this, at least here, I don't know how it is across the Mid-South. I would imagine, just speculating, that it's worse, but
Yeah.
a winter event like this will kill off our Carolina wrens. Like, we'll have an event like this, and then we won't have Carolina wrens for 2 or 3 years, and then they'll eventually come back. And boy, with the ice and cold temperatures and everything going all the way down into the Mid-South, it could be rough for birds that generally don't handle that stuff very well.
Yeah, we call them half-hardies a lot of times, especially
Yeah.
further north where you get birds that are primarily insect or fruit eaters, and they'll kind of go north with mild winters, and then they kind of get knocked back every few years, and this could be one of those knockback events. Things like, Carolina wren, red-bellied woodpecker, gray catbird, brown thrasher, like some birds that you think of as kind of creeping, uncommon winter birds in a lot of places. And they're regular for us. But, winter like this will knock them back a little bit. I mean, they'll recover. Carolina wrens in particular will nest literally anywhere. So in time they'll come back, but this is just sort of one of those seasonal or every once in a while sort of events that they have to deal with. Yeah, ice is the particularly difficult thing for them. So if you have a bird feeder, please feel free to. This is a great time to throw those out there and make sure that you're helping those birds out to supplement their feeding and make it a little bit easier for them. It may not be enough, but and every little bit helps. They'll find it and they'll appreciate it until it melts off a few days later, as it does down here. So I can't imagine we're going to have it for much longer than 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and suet especially, because all that
suet,
extra fat
it's high energy.
a lot.
Yeah, all sort of like really oil-rich foods like black oil, sunflower seed, and suet are probably the most effective for that sort of thing. Couple other questions. Favorite rarities of the year? I already talked about it. I would send people to the podcast, but Greg wasn't on,
go to
so
the
he can
ABA
share his own.
podcast, aba.org/podcast.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of good stuff. Cool phenomenons, favorite records, most unexpected, most expected, which is the case in a lot of birds.
Although if they're
Stuff we're
talking
waiting
about
for.
26, I think the European robin that's outside, I think it's Montreal.
Montreal, and also the red-flanked bluetail in Virginia, which is still present. And
those two
maybe
birds
makes it through this. Who knows?
European robins, when they have shown up, have been really hard to nail down. There was one in
this one, not though. Like some of the photos. And a New Jersey record as well. This bird's been like practically prancing around for people photoing in like a north suburb of Montreal. So, pretty incredible. And the red-flanked bluetail too. It's been showing really well. And that when that bird showed up a couple years ago in New Jersey, it stuck around through April. So fingers crossed. If it gets through this winter storm, then it might stick around for several weeks yet.
But talking about vagrants, rarities, I do a game called Fantasy Birding. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's a lot of fun. It's a great game, and you really learn a lot about status and distribution by playing this game.
Yeah.
You also learn a lot about when and where people go birding. But it's fantasybirding.com, created by our friend Matt Smith.
He was a guest on the podcast several years ago.
But I have to say that way up there with my favorite vagrants of all times is that mottled owl that has just decided to live at Santa Margarita Ranch in Texas.
Yeah.
And, mottled owl is one of those sort of grail birds along with Stygian owl that, probably shows up, more frequently than we see it, but they're just impossible to find unless you get very, very lucky. And this bird set up shop 2 years ago, and it's just hanging out. And there's like regular guided trips to go see it at night.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder, like, all right, is there just one? Are all of these people seeing one, or is there more than one?
Yeah.
It's like, and then in that same little patch of woods, there's now brown jays nesting.
Yeah.
There's a little
They're
growing
back
colony of
after
brown
many
jays
years
there.
away. Yeah.
So
We talked about that's actually one of the we did superlatives this time for the episode. Most whatever, best whatever, and one of them was the most unexpected long-staying rarity. Like, how is this bird still here? Mottled owl was definitely on that list. The cattle tyrant, further up the coast, and is still on that list.
cattle tyrants.
Stellar seagull is like the king of that list. We may get some more birds that stick around. It seems like we're in the era of long-staying rarities. In addition to the red-flanked bluetail and the European robin, the taiga flycatcher that was originally seen in British Columbia, that was seen in December, still sticking around well into January. There's a lot of the blue rock thrush that was on Oahu in Hawaii, still sticking around. A lot of these geese that stick around, the tundra and taiga bean goose in New York, been here for quite some time now. A lot of these birds are staying for a long period of time, and a lot of people are getting on them, which is exciting. It's really cool.
Steve Voorhees says that this was great. Thank you, Steve. If you ever need help misidentifying birds, I am available. Oh, we're quite capable of doing that ourselves.
We misidentify birds enough for.
Thank you for the for the offer of assistance.
We'll let you know.
And Mary asks about the slatyback gull in Dubuque. Slatyback gull. Slatyback gull is an interesting. Yeah,
that's one that's really turned up around the Great Lakes a lot. Seems like right that they're starting to kind of come down the Mississippi a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure that the kelp gull in Milwaukee was one of your.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, that was my choice for most unexpected state first.
Unexpected and just a crazy story. Not only in the way that story. It, was breeding with an American herring gull, but just the way it was found by several people. It was a group effort.
Kelp gull. They have tried breeding with American herring gulls in North America in the past, in the Chandeleur Islands of Louisiana, many years ago. So the fact that one is trying to do it in Milwaukee is pretty interesting. I don't know if we can call them Chandeleur gulls if they are, from Milwaukee, but if it's not from the Chandeleur Islands, it's just sparkling S-bag.
Could call them the Champagne of Beers gulls.
That was the joke I made when I talked about that too. I'm glad that someone
else
went
to
the conclusion. So yeah.
Oh, I haven't listened to this episode.
Although
yet.
That's Miller High Life, but still.
Yep.
Anyway, right. I think we've effectively killed the last 10 minutes of the show.
That's the place. That's the place to end right there.
Please consider joining the AVA. You get a lot of cool stuff. Please listen to us on the American Birding Podcast. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Sign up for our newsletter, and we'll give you a heads up when we do it. Probably 2 weeks. That's usually how we like to do things here.
Yes.
But you'll let us know. We'll let you know.
We'll let you know
on the newsletter. Yeah. Or subscribe to the ABA on Facebook or on YouTube.
Yep. All right, guys.
Adios, everybody.